So this week you've been working your way through the lesson, learning about variables, the different types of them, how to set them, and then lastly how to use a text box to maybe collect some data and put it into a variable so you can make some calculations in your program. This little program here called rectangle area is kind of an example of how you might put all those things together. Okay, I've got a form here with a couple of different text boxes. One of them where the user is supposed to put in the length of their rectangle. One of them that prompts the user to put in the width. And then they click an answer button and the area gets calculated. Okay, so in the code for this, you'll notice here we've got our form rectangle area and a click event for that button called answer. And in here we've dimensioned or declared 3 different double variables so the user can put in decimal numbers for the length and width if they'd like. And we've made these variables local. In other words, they only exist inside of this click event right here. Okay, so that's the only place they can exist, the only place they can be accessed. All right. What we then did is we took the text property of each of these text boxes and assigned it to the double variable. Okay, now we couldn't just flat out do that because as the user types those numbers in, they're going to be seen as strings, and those strings can't be automatically converted to a double. So what we had to do here in this situation, we just decided to use a val function here with val, and then in parentheses we put the text box object and the text property that we wanted to put through that val function. And the val function just simply looks at the string, and if there are numbers in there, it will convert them to their numeric value, which can be placed in the double. If it was just a string of text, the val function will return a 0. That's something we'll have to deal with later because that's not always an excellent solution either. But for now, this works for us. Then after the user has put those numbers in, we're going to perform the calculation right here, timesing those two numbers to get area. And then lastly, to get this back to the user, we have to display the answer in a label. Okay, so that's what we're doing right here. me_lbl_answer.text is going to change to become dbl area. So if we run this real quickly here, what we'll see is that as the user puts in some numbers in here, we get an answer. Okay, and it's just timesing these two answers, and it looks like that's working out pretty fine. If we try another one here, now, okay, switch to 25. Now, one potential problem we have with this program that we should think about here is, what if a user clicks in here, changes this, and doesn't really, recognize they didn't put in a different number. They're looking down here, this number didn't change either. Really, another good thing you should do when you're dealing with text boxes is you should do what's called a text changed event. So what we can do in here, in our code, we can go up here and we can pick the text boxes. There's text length. And we're going to make a text changed event. And in this text change event, we're just going to say me LBL answer text equals nothing. So, and you can do that simply. We could type the word nothing, but we can put 2 quotes back to back, and that means the same thing. And so this is just going to reset the label so the user is not confused. So now we've got a situation where when they run the program, they put in a number here, get their answer, and if they go up here and change this, see how it blanks out the answer there. Now, we didn't do it yet for the rectangle, for the width of it, I mean. So we'd want to go in there and make a text changed event for that, but it'd be exactly the same thing with just the exception of we would say this would be a text changed event for txt width. that instead of txt length. So that's another thing to consider so you don't confuse your users. Okay, so your assignment this week is to build your own little rectangle area program, but then also to include in that program the capability for the program to also calculate the perimeter of the program. So I look forward to viewing those and to see what you add to them that makes them even better.